So here it is, the all-new BMW X5. It's the 4th generation model and it is so much bigger than the original car that launched 20 years ago. It's also one of the most sophisticated cars in BMW's current lineup. And here are the 5 things we reckon you need to know about this new X5. Number 1, the new X5 is almost 4 centimeters longer than its predecessor, or 25 centimeters longer than the original X5. It's also 66 millimeters wider than its predecessor, or almost 14 centimeters wider than the original car. It's also 19 millimeters taller than its predecessor, or, you guessed it, 4 centimeters taller than the original car. And all that extra room has gone inside the passenger space. Number 2, check out the grille. It's big and imposing. It's actually pretty clever too. See, it's one of BMW's active grilles, which means there are louvers inside that can open and close to either improve fuel efficiency and aerodynamics or engine cooling. And while we're here, I want to show you these BMW laser lights. They're a cost option on the X5 and they're pretty clever. See, they have actual lasers inside them. They only work on high beam and they will throw a light beam out to about 500 meters, whereas a conventional LED high beam will only reach out to around 350 meters. Number 3, the interior of the X5 has been really well done. There's soft touch materials just about everywhere you place your hand, and I really love some of the trims here. This brushed alloy trim's beautiful. Some of the switchgear though, I'm not so keen on. Although the materials used are beautiful, they're a little bit small to see, a little bit hard to hit when you're driving around. And the air vents here, this plastic bit is really cheap and nasty, which is not something I expected from the X5. Right here in the back seat, so I've set the front seat up to suit myself, and as you can see, I've got acres of leg room. I've got pretty good headroom too, even though we've got a sunroof here that's eating into a little bit of space. The seat itself is nice and flat, the floor is nice and flat, so you can get an adult into the middle seat quite comfortably too. So around here at the back, the X5's got a powered split fold tailgate. Just wait for it to happen. It's pretty quick. Drop the bottom one too. There's about 650 litres of storage space in there. Now you can get a 3rd row for the X5, but it is a cost option. It's about $3,700. So the X5 we're testing, the 30D, makes 195 kilowatts and 620 newton meters of torque. But I've got to say, it feels like it makes a whole lot more than that. You put your foot down on the thing and it surges ahead. The acceleration is really clean and effortless. And the 8-speed automatic transmission is really smooth in its shifts. It's perfectly matched to this engine. Despite the size of the new X5, and I do think that's something that owners are going to have to get used to, it does take up a lot of the road. It's actually surprisingly agile. There's really good body control through corners, and above 60 k's an hour, there's really good bump suppression too. Below that, you do get the odd jolt into the cabin. So, should you take the X5 off-road? Look, if it was my money, I probably wouldn't, just because there's not a lot of ground clearance, not a lot of wheel travel either. Now you can get an off-road pack for the thing. I think it's about 10 grand. Adds some stickers and some underbody armour and allows you to raise the suspension by about 40 mil when you're driving off-road. Number 5, the X5 30D we're driving today lists from about $112,000, but in typical premium car fashion, the cost options list is longer than about 2 arms joined together. You can get all sorts of things: massaging seats, quad zone climate control, side blinds here. You can get the 3rd row that I mentioned earlier when I talked about the boot space. That's about $3,700 cost option, which is a bit disappointing because most of this car's competitors have a 3rd row as standard. So there you have it, the all-new BMW X5. It's certainly bigger, roomier and more sophisticated than any X5 that's gone before it. And while it does have a very long cost options list, in standard trim you do get quite a lot of car for your money. Now if you want full details or to read our full review of the new X5, make sure you visit practicalmotoring.com.au.